Welcome back to the Kerbal Space Program. In our last episode, we launched our first spacecraft and got some valuable science. And today, we are going to spend it and continue our journey through space. So, let's see what we can get. The first node is aerodynamic parts, which are actually needed in this version and with those modes. Then we get various control surfaces and reaction wheels, solid rocket boosters, liquid rockets, and structural. Also, we have pod parts, unmanned and manned, at the moment only unmanned parts, and the aerodynamic technology for the space planes. Those include wings, canards, jet engines, and all that neat stuff. So what we're going to take is liquid rockets and, more importantly, fuel ducts, structural components, which will provide us with struts. And we're also going to get the structural components, namely various kinds of decouplers and heat shields. And now let's build our second rocket. This time we have to go into the high atmosphere or even lower orbit to perform our science experiments and get our goal. Valuable science. So we probably going to completely remove this part, because it is not going. It is connecting. Everything is fine. So we're just going to change the command pod, add the same parachutes to it, add same antennas, and basically do the same stuff we done before. The only difference is that we are going to add a decoupler. Not this one. No. This one is too big. This one is too small. This one is definitely too big. This one. And it is not going to connect for some reason. So we'll have to rebuild the rocket below it. I'm still trying to connect those, but for some reason they just losing the connection node. Yeah, but as we can see, it just doesn't work. So let's quickly remove this and rebuild the rocket from the scratch. Yes, I tried to put a heat shield on top of the Stay Putnik capsule pod thingy. So let's put a fuel tank. Let's add a rocket engine to it. And let's add a decoupler. And put a couple of big fuel tanks below it with another rocket engine. Yeah, let's change this rocket engine for a smaller one. Add the big one and at the bottom. Fix our staging, and we have 6000 delta V, so this should work perfectly. We're not going into orbit, but we are going into the lowest reaches of space. Add the launch clamps, and yes, this is going to be also kind of sped up, just for the sake of not being too boring. We are going to reach approximately 110 or 120 kilometers, and we are going to use our scientific equipment to get valuable readings and the sample data. And our apoapsis is approximately 80 kilometers. So 110, 120, 130, that should be enough. So we're still not... Oh yes, we're there. Let us perform our signs. Turn retrograde and actually burn so that we are not entering atmosphere with such velocity. And our burn is complete, so we can stage those rockets, or one rocket, and prepare for the what we think will be a fiery descent through the atmosphere. Will it? No. We already did 50,000 and there is no re-entry effects, so our heat shield wasn't really needed. But it's better to have one and not use it. So our parachute's almost deployed. We are almost at splashdown. And 100, 50, 20, 10, splashdown. And again, the dance of the probe. And here is our valuable science. We got 168. Not too bad. Not too bad. What are we going to use it for? Let's see. Solid rockets? Nah. Another liquid rockets? Wow, 500. Not something we can afford right now. A probe technology. Aerodynamic properties. Control stuff. We actually decided to take the solid rockets just because won't hurt. We're going to take a probe technology because it's only 10 science. And we're going to take the basic flight technology. After that, we still have 63 science left, so landing legs, nah, not really needed right now. We can't go anywhere. Aerospace stack, nope. Oh, science instruments, 50 science. And yes, we are going to take them. Now, let's head to VAB and apply our newly acquired technology to our spaceship and see if we can get it into the orbit. We're going to add some structure below our pod, where we are going to place our scientific equipment. We're actually going to change the pod itself because we're going into the orbit and probably even into the high orbit. So here is our new pod with its antennas, scientific equipment and parachute. We're also going to add one battery because it is going to be very important. And as we're playing in rescaled version of Kerbal Space Program, we are going to need much larger rocket to actually achieve orbit. It will take us approximately 10,000 delta V to get there, and it might not even be enough. I'm honestly not sure. So let's add 4-stage rocket with a big fuel tank in the beginning and use asparagus staging for our liquid boosters to get the maximum out of this spaceship. Here we go. 10,000 Delta V. Let's call it Testing Vehicle Mark III and let's head to the launch pad. Unfortunately, there will be some slight issues with the audio synchronization. I apologize for those problems, but there is nothing I can do here. This flight is also will be presented in 4 times acceleration, simply because otherwise it takes too long. We've staged our first liquid boosters and we've done some science. As you can see, we're actually already in quite steep gravity turn and our apoapsis is already 90,000 meters. Everything seems to be going quite good. We do some more science along the way and our apoapsis is almost in space. So we are going to do our orbital insertion. Let's stage the next part and let's conduct more scientific experiments. Wow, it looks like we can make it. And we are in orbit. Sweet! But unfortunately, as we're using remote tech and this is an unmanned flight, we cannot control it when we are not in a direct view of the mission control. And we are almost never in a direct view of mission control when flying in orbit. That means that yes, we can conduct science, but any kind of maneuvering, changing velocity, any kind of burn, not going to happen. Perhaps if we had a communication satellite in orbit, which would provide us a direct view from wider angle, we will be able to do something. That sounds like a very novel idea. I think someone else thought about it before. Unfortunately, this spacecraft doesn't work as a viable kind of satellite. That means that our next couple of missions we will be launching communication satellites. Otherwise, no mission beyond the small suborbital hops will be possible. And we don't want that. We want to go to the moon. We want to go to the Duna, Joule, Eve, and all other planets. But for now, our scientific mission is complete, so we are just waiting to get into the view of command center and to commit our burn and to deorbit this spaceship. Unfortunately, this is not going to work too well. During the deorbit, we lost contact with the mission control and our spaceship became completely uncontrollable. As a result, it burnt up completely in the atmosphere of Kerbin and all of our scientific data was lost. It is a sad day for our space program. But we are not going to go back. We are only embracing the challenge. In our next mission, we are going to launch our first communication satellite to make sure that such travesty never happens again. But for now, we are going to end this episode. Thank you all for watching. Remember to like, dislike, and comment this video in the section below. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.